something to girl. I brought a girl on my Vespa. She said I already told ya, yeah, yeah. I never dated a black guy. I said you're brown yourself. Let me offer help. Come on inside, where everybody knows your name, everybody knows your name. Time to catch a flight, but you can make me go. Unlocking all the memories of my new home. Ventilated echoes playing to and fro, back and forth, yeah. Caught some kids dancing in the alleyway. Crazy how the melodies began to play, yeah. Tell me how you feeling when you hear the lyric, yeah. My heart's in Stockholm. Now I never wanna go home. I left my heart in Stockholm. Now I never wanna go home. Separate again. Sunlight that always stays in and by the waterway. It's that sweet life, sweet life, sweet life. I never wanna go home, go home. I'm living in Stockholm, Stockholm. I never wanna go home, go home. I'm living in Stockholm, Stockholm. I never wanna go home, go home. I'm living in Stockholm, Stockholm.
I'd like to call to order the meeting of the Redevelopment Board for February 13th, 2024. Can we please proceed with roll call?
Renee Richardson,
Here.
Davita Bonner, Tangela Hardy,
Here.
Joan Shepard, Lynn Thompson,
Here.
Kathy Washington. And that's it for the roll call.
Okay. Mr. Thompson. Invocation.
Yes.
We'll now have the invocation and followed by the Pledge of Allegiance by Mr. Thompson.
Let us pray. Eternal God, our Father, we thank you for this wonderful day. We thank you for once again the opportunity to gather in the City Hall
Yes.
where the people's business will be conducted.
Thank you, God.
We thank you for those who have gathered. We ask, oh God, that we will be united as we come together to discuss issues that will enhance our city. Oh God, we thank you for the privilege of gathering. We pray, oh God, for good health, sound minds, and that we will be on one accord. Thank you for this wonderful city, for the plans and the people who lead it. We pray, oh God, that you will continue to bless each and every one of us to do your will. In your Son's name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
Pledge
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Moving on to the agenda, can I have a motion to approve the agenda?
A motion to approve the agenda from,
Can I have a second it? Okay. All in favor, say aye.
aye.
All opposed, same sign. Agenda is approved. And moving on, can I have a motion for the approval of the minutes for December 12th, 2023? Has everyone had an opportunity to review it? Any changes, any necessary changes? Okay. Can I have a motion?
Motion.
Can I have a second it?
I second.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carries for the minutes. Okay. Let's see. And we are now moving on to the presentation for the U-Haul Daytona Planning District. Ms. Tolliver.
Madam Chair, board members, I am here to present item 7. And to read it into the record, I'm Michelle Tolliver, the project manager for Midtown. The item 7 is the plan development, redevelopment, PDRD rezoning, U-Haul Daytona Plan District, DEV 2021-071, quasi judicial hearing. This is a request by Jessica Gao on behalf of U-Haul Company of Florida, 905 LLC, the property owner, to rezone 4.7 plus or minus acres of land located at 700 West International Speedway Boulevard from redevelopment Midtown University Transition, RDM4 zoning district, to plan development, redevelopment, PDRD zoning to allow for continuation of the current rental of light and heavy vehicles for moving of personal property, and to add many self-storage and propane filling station uses with all associated site improvements. The next slide is the current site location, which is at the corner of West ISB and Lincoln Street in the Midtown redevelopment area. The next slide is an aerial of the current condition of the property. And this slide is the current land use, which is schools, and the proposed land use, which is mixed use. This next slide is the current zoning for the property, RDM4, and the proposed zoning, PDRD. So I'm going to give you some history on this project, and just bear with me because it's not quick. It's going to take me a little time to get through. Volusia County property appraisers' records reflect the property was developed in 1963 as an automotive dealership, which included a retail store and a vehicle service station. A third building was built in 1969 and expanded the service station. In 1984, the property was purchased by U-Haul Company of Florida, 905 LLC, and the use was converted from automotive dealership to rental of light vehicles and vehicle repair uses with accessory retail sales. From 1988 to current, the property has been licensed as a U-Haul business. The zoning designation of the property was Business Automotive, BA, when the original business license was approved. The approved uses for the U-Haul business were consistent with the BA zoning district. In 2015, the city adopted a new land development code, LDC. The new LDC changed the zoning designation on the property from BA to redevelopment Midtown University Transition, RDM4. The RDM4 zoning designation does not allow the previously allowed and approved rental of light vehicles and vehicle repair uses. Since the U-Haul business was legally established on the date of its development, but does not fully comply with the standards of the current code, the uses were allowed to continue as legal non-conforming. Land Development Code Article 1, Section 1.8.d. On April 7th, 2018, city staff performed a site inspection on the property. The site inspection revealed that sometime after 1988, When the original business license was approved, a mini storage warehouse use was added to the existing U-Haul business, and the site was renovated to accommodate the new mini warehouse storage use. The addition of the mini warehouse storage use and the site renovations were made without approval by the city through the required process. To bring the property into compliance with the Land Development Code, the applicant is requesting to rezone the property from RDM 4 to PDRD to expand the uses to include self-storage and propane filling station with all associated site improvements. This is the plan development for the property. And you all have these in your packet. The size is not big enough for you. And this is one of the architectural elevations showing the front west side of the property. This is the building closest to ISB, where there's pointing out that there's a change in paint. Also, there are some decals in the window. The next slide is one of the other elevations on the other side of the building, showing the architectural metal paneling and glass near the storefront of the building. The next slide is just elevations. The top one is the west elevation of the building. The next one in the middle is the south elevation, and the bottom one is the east elevation of the building. And this building is the one closest to International. And this slide is the paint colors for the building. And it's also showing the paint colors on the west, south, and east side. The next slide is the wall and fence plan. If you notice the smaller picture off to the right corner, that's showing the current boundary on the Lincoln side. The larger photo is showing the banners with the aluminum type fencing and the brick. The next slide is just a view from from Oak Street and Lincoln, showing, again, the corner picture shows the existing property with the chain link and the green mesh. And then the larger picture shows the plan to install the aluminum type fencing with the brick facade. And this slide is, again, the corner bottom right is showing the existing site. And then the larger photo is showing the nighttime view with the banners illuminated along with the brick facade being illuminated. And this slide is showing the proposed, or this is a example of what might go up on the banners along the Lincoln Street side. This is not the final artwork for the displays. And the waivers and modifications section states, as part of the rezoning request, the applicant is requesting the following waivers and modifications from the Land Development Code. Article 5, Use Standards, Section 5.2, Point B, Point 23, Point A, Point I, D, requires self-storage uses to be set back a minimum of 500 feet from a major city thoroughfare. The applicant is requesting to waive the requirement to allow the existing structure to remain there. And keep in mind, the original structure was built in the 60s. Or what did I say, 60s? 63, that's right. Thank you, Ann. And then this section of the Land Development Code, Section 5.2, Point B, Point 23, Point A, Point II. A, allows rental of storage bays and the pickup and deposit of goods or property in dead storage with incidental sales or rental of moving supplies and equipment. C, all property stored on the site must be contained entirely within the enclosed buildings. E, if the use includes a truck rental use For a trailer rental, it must comply with the regulations of sale or rental of heavy vehicles. The applicant is requesting to waive these regulations to allow the storage of light and heavy vehicles associated with the current rental of moving vehicles on the property. Section 5.2.b.23.a, .iv, A, and B does not allow outside storage to occur within the required yard setbacks or to be stored overnight. The applicant is requesting to waive these requirements to allow outside storage within the required yard setback and to also allow overnight storage for customer vehicles to be stored at a maximum of 48 hours. Parking and circulation. Section 5.2.b.23.a.b. A. The applicant is requesting to waive the requirements for the aisleways for interior parking. And then the building appearance, section 5.2.b.23.a.vi, A, and B. The applicant is requesting to waive the requirements for garage doors and exterior facade. Signage in section 6.10.e.2.a.iv and section 6.10K, thank you, .6.c, the applicant is requesting a modification. Guess it would help if I switch, wouldn't it? The applicant is requesting 5 walls. Let me start over on that. Signage. Section 6.10.e.2.a.iv and section 6.10.k.6.c. The applicant is requesting a modification to the requirement to maintain the existing pylon and pole signs. The applicant is requesting 5 wall signs, not 2 signs as the Land Development Code requires, and the sign area of 166 square feet instead of the code requirement of 32 square feet. The drive aisles and parking, section 6.2.c.9, the applicant is requesting that parking spaces noted as parking and shunting on the property count toward the required off-site parking. Dual-purpose parking shunting spaces be limited to 8 spaces. Okay, so the recommendation before you tonight is, provided all Land Development Code modifications and waivers are accepted, staff recommends approval to rezone 4.7 plus or minus acres of land located at 700 West International Speedway Boulevard from Redevelopment Midtown University Transition, RDM4, to Planned Development Redevelopment to allow for moving and storage rental, self-storage facility, moving and storage facility, propane tank filling station, and all associated improvements. A majority vote by the Midtown Redevelopment Board members present and voting is required to recommend approval to the Planning Board and the Commission. The item is tentatively scheduled to be heard by the Planning Board on February 22nd, 2024. The item is tentatively scheduled to be heard by the City Commission for first reading on April 3rd, 2024, and the second reading, public hearing, April 17th, 2024. Does the board have any questions?
I do have 2 questions. Number one, what was the outcome of the citizens meeting?
The packet that I mailed out would be my reference, or I can have the applicant, Jessica Gal, representing the property owner.
December 12th, right?
Yes. And I wasn't there, and off the top of my head, I don't remember what the letter says, but Mrs. Gal can cover the outcome of what the citizen input was.
What was the attendance like? What was the, can I get a summary of that?
It's an attachment E.
That's what I need to know.
Yeah, attachment E. I think they had 3 attendants, 3 residents.
Okay, that was on from Carbon Code there. Okay.
Yes.
And I see Miss Ruby was there.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And then the second question is, as it relates to the modifications, just bring me up to speed on this process. So if the modifications are accepted, that's the planning board decision?
No, that is a recommendation based on how the property is situated today. When it was built back in the 60s versus our land development code today is restraining them from making certain changes to match our land development code. So to accommodate the existing property, the owner is asking for waivers so that you don't have to move a building, you don't have to move certain things, yeah. So the modifications are to require everything out how it is right now on the property to operate.
So they're asking to modify writings?
They're asking to modify certain requirements from the land development code so that the existing layout, buildings can operate in today's time.
Okay, and then I see the timeline on the next page. Okay. And staff has recommended moving forward if the modifications are accepted.
Yes, absolutely.
I have a question.
Yeah.
So I have 3 questions. I think my questions are more so for the parking. If I heard you correctly, the street parking they're going to use for their parking solely for them? No? Did I hear that correctly or no?
The parking has 2 issues. There are some drive aisles that cannot be accommodated with width because of the existing site. So they want to leave the drive aisles how they are, and then they want to allow customers to be able to park, and they've designated that on the site plan. There are 8 parking spots for customers who want to rent the U-Haul service and leave their personal vehicle on site for up to 48 hours.
Oh, okay.
Because the land development code does not currently allow that, and they're asking for that modification to allow customers to leave their vehicle on the property overnight.
Gotcha. Thank you.
I don't have any questions. You have anything else?
On
Lincoln?
Street, they share that with the institution?
No, there should not be any more parking on Lincoln Street by U-Haul. That has never been allowed, and moving forward, they understand that. They will not be parking any of their U-Haul vehicles on Lincoln.
But they have been,
Yes, sir.
right? Okay.
They're aware of that, too, yes.
Will that help to accommodate for parking for Bethune-Cookman students that
I
parking
would-
on Lincoln Street?
Yes, I would think so, yes.
I don't have any other questions.
Okay, and Mrs. Gao is going to come up and add to or correct anything I didn't cover, and she can address the neighborhood meeting. Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. Jessica Gao with Cobb Cole Law Firm, 149 South Ridgewood Avenue, Daytona Beach, Florida. I don't have anything to correct. Y'all did wonderful. We started this process in 2021, and so for 3 years, we've been fine-tuning the site with the city. And the main premise of it is, of course, the use started in the 80s. The codes have changed, rules have changed at some point. Interior to the site, rentals started occurring for students mostly, Bethune students store things there. And so we're coming through to say the storage is allowed to continue as a non-conforming use, but we'd like to make it conforming. We'd like to create a custom zoning that says, here's exactly what it can be, and here's the only thing it can be. And so right now, it's got a range of uses that could be developed on that site. The PD rezoning only allows for the rental business, U-Haul business, and the interior storage. So it's really restricting down what can occur on the site and then pulling in some public benefits that we think could beautify the site while allowing it to remain in operation. And so I just want to hit on those again briefly. The first is the images of the fencing that you guys saw with the columns kind of mimicking the Bethune-Cookman architecture, the brick. And those character images, we've reached out to Beth and Cookman about getting licensing for photos of athletics department or anything like that they want to highlight. But we can also coordinate with the city on the licensed photos they have for Black History Month on the banners that we have on the street, to have those images as well in those character images. And then really anything else that the city thinks is appropriate kind of for that area, we could pull in there. The next is that the plan contemplates additional landscaping on ISB. When the site was developed, there weren't really rules and regulations. Now we have strong landscaping requirements on ISB. So where there's the parking to the left of the building, if you were to face U-Haul, we'll be improving a lot of the landscaping there to kind of give it more of a vibrant appearance, kind of have customers pull in there. On Lincoln Street, the site currently has 3 access points, and we've worked with the city to reduce that to 2. And what will happen is that the one farthest to the rear will remain a full access point for trucks to come and go. The middle access point will become seasonal, so it'll only be open during college move-in or move-out days so that you have a lot of traffic there. And then the one closest to the intersection of Lincoln and ISB will become a right in, right out only, because it's really close to that intersection, and there are some safety considerations and concerns that the way it currently operates, if you're trying to make a left turn out of there, you've really got vehicle conflicts. And so we've reduced that to a right in, right out only. Those are the high points. The rest of it is, there are a lot of modifications outlined in there. On-street parking, we did work with staff to add language that says no rental vehicles may be parked along Lincoln. And so they all have to be interior to the property. And the shunting customer spaces, those 8 spaces, a little funky. If you are familiar with the site, they've got the U-Haul rental trucks, kind of like what you can get at Lowe's and other places, where you can do it on your phone, you rent it. When you take the truck, you put the car in that spot. And so you're just kind of swapping that inventory. And then when you return the truck, you take your car and go. And so I think that touches on the main items, but we're here for any questions. The neighborhood meeting was attended by Ann and Sandy and one individual from the college. It was overall positive. No questions or concerns, and we went through the development plan with them.
One question.
Sure.
At one time, there was a walkthrough at the backside of the northeast side between Oak and Lincoln, between the 2 properties, where Bethune students could access the backside of the Center for Civic Engagement. And
Okay.
Is that still there? So it would have been the northwest corner of the property, which abutted.
By that stormwater pond in the back?
Almost, yes.
Okay. I'm not certain. I don't think it's shown on our development plan. The intent of the zoning is not to change any current operations, so if it's out there.
Because I do know
Right.
historically, there was an issue where students would cut across the front part of the property to walk
Okay.
to the other part of the campus where the Center for Civic Engagement was, and I know that was an issue at one time.
But I was saying I'm not sure. I know that we are proposing fencing kind of along the whole perimeter. In the back there, that aluminum fencing, so that cut through would be, I think, modified for that.
So I would suggest, and I'm sure you probably have had some discussion with the institution about looking at that to mitigate any problems that may crop up if you're cutting off some
Sure. And on
walkways and stuff like that.
On attachment A in your packet, you can see kind of directly to the northwest of our property line. The plan does show a sidewalk there. It's outside of our property, but it is existing and it connects from that all the way up. So I think that sidewalk would remain. It's not in our site. We've got some trees that are being planted beside it, but.
Is there a backup plan in place should the requested rental spaces needed for the customer parking is used in the event of like maybe a weekend is going on where there's a lot of vehicles being rented and your spaces are, the customer parking is then used? Is there a backup plan in regards to how then will the customers be able to park their vehicles?
Sure. And we do have a representative from operations here if he wants to add. I'm going to try to answer it, and so then we'll see how well I do. Is that the trucks themselves could be parked in other areas of the property reserved for rental vehicles, the big box trucks, the standard trucks that you have out on front to kind of clear up those spaces if they had high volume, and that would be.
I think I see the wall.
Okay, yeah. So I think that's probably the first alternative, is just to move those back to the storage area for the rest of the vehicles. The key is that we don't want customers interacting in kind of the rear, where we have the long truck beds and all of that. And so keeping them towards the front, either clustered in that area, the left of the building where you currently have customer parking, or the parking along the front to the right. And so we would just kind of accommodate to keep them up there in the front.
Okay.
Do we need any comments from the, okay. Is there any comments from the citizens in regards to this? Okay. Okay. Mr. Lewis?
Pierre Lewis, 130 South Franklin Street. First, good to see the board again. I was taken aback when I heard the information from U-Haul about the storage. And I think it's such a great, first of all, it's always great to see new business and improvement business in the area. I would say that was definitely for this. And the reason I'm so strongly for this operation, where they're talking about the storage, because after many meetings when I was in with students, one of the biggest things I hear from the students is, and Lynn probably can talk about this, when they transition from being, I guess, freshmen to sophomore, they have to move all their stuff off the campus. And there's some of those students are having to store some of their stuff before us, whereas as New Smyrna and Deltona, I've heard that before. So I think if you can have a business like, I guess what U-Haul is going to do with the storage, this will help them a lot. They also, a lot of times they have to store at the other storage units over there by Nova Road too. I don't want to tell them about their operations, but they have one price this month, and the student comes back, they give them another price, and then it's another price. So obviously, the board can dictate the operations of that. You know what I'm talking about? Right, so some of that stuff should occur. But I guess what I'm still trying to say is that it's good to see that some storage can be for the students that are there. It just seems incredulous that students would have to go all the way to Deltona or New Smyrna to store their stuff while they're in between, I guess, semesters, and then they have to come back. So I was glad to see that U-Haul is talking about, I guess, is it expanding the storage that's there? Whatever it is that over the storage, I think is a good idea, so I would say for it.
Madam Chair, I'm sorry to interject, but, initially, we allowed this to proceed. We have three members. We don't have a quorum. The bylaws say 4 members, and so we're not going to be able to take formal action on this item tonight.
Okay. So do we need to vote that we put this on hold until we have more people?
We're
board.
required to, yeah. we
Okay,
can't-
all right.
Can't take a voting action.
Okay,
We can only receive this information.
Yeah.
all right.
And then the people voting on it have to be presented with the information again. So
Okay.
this was just a rehearsal.
Okay. Okay. So I'd like to provide, I request a motion that we put this on hold until we have additional members that are added to be able to vote on this.
We just continue the item.
Okay, we can continue it. Do I have a motion?
Do we have to move it? Or
No?
I
We're good?
don't think a motion's required.
Okay, all right,
The board,
let's move on. Okay. All right, so we are moving forward with staff reports. Captain Conte with the Daytona Beach Police Department.
Good evening, all.
Good evening.
Captain Leo Connie, Daytona Beach Police Department. I'm going to provide the most recent stats from January 1st until today's date, February 13th, 2024, since we didn't have the meeting last month. For calls for service in District 1, we have 4,908 calls for service, 1,089 reports written thus far. We have 139 felony arrests, 141 misdemeanor arrests, 110 accidents, 16 hit-and-run investigations, 806 traffic stops, 551 citations issued, 43 vehicles towed, and 166 FICs completed. One thing that I would like to bring up is this past Sunday, we had the Daytona Half Marathon, and I thought it was a very nice change in venue where they actually ran down MMB. So it was a bit of a change as far as plans go, but it was nice to spread some love, obviously, to the Midtown area.
Okay.
And then obviously this coming week, beginning tomorrow, Speed Weeks. So expect a little bit of traffic congestion around the Speedway. So unless you have to get out of your house, I would recommend avoiding it.
Does anybody have any questions? Ms. Hardy?
No questions. Thank you.
The route, did you go down Orange Avenue also, or they just changed it?
They went
When they
east.
came off the bridge, they came out, remember?
They did not cross the bridge this time.
Oh.
They went east on Speedway, south on Central, then they went around Tarragona, north on White Street, and then east on MMB.
Okay.
Nice difference.
Well, we don't have any other questions. Thank you for your service.
I
Thank
appreciate
you.
it. Thank you very much. Have a
right.
good night.
Next up is Ms. Kirk with Code Enforcement or Code Compliance.
Good evening, Sarah Kirk, Inspector with the City Code Enforcement, or Code Compliance, excuse me. So I gave you the month of January of 2024, we had 18 cases in Midtown, one of which was a vacant lot, one was rental, one was a condemnation case, and then 15 were code cases. Does anybody have any questions? Cases?
Nope.
No questions.
Thank you very much.
All right, thank you. And next up, Ms. Tolliver with Redevelopment Projects.
Project Manager for Redevelopment. I'm bringing Phoebe up because I want her to elaborate on the Accelerate Business Summit that's coming up on the 24th. Instead of me trying to pretend like I know the words, might as well get it from the horse's mouth. Phoebe is spearheading the effort, and just a reminder about the Accelerate Business Summit, but if Phoebe can add to it.
Hello, Phoebe Fuquay, Project Manager for Redevelopment. So this is the city's first time doing a business summit. So we have a lot of sessions that will be taking place. First things first, our keynote speaker is Chris Robinson. He is the Vice President of the Maxwell Group, which is John Maxwell, and he'll be giving a keynote address. Also, we have various community partners who will be doing, participating in the exhibits for our vendors, so in our exhibit hall. We will have sessions. The first session is a how-to session, laying the foundation of a business. The next session is Are You Covered? Talking about the coverage, whether it's contracts, whether it's insurances, HR, making sure businesses or the attendees there know the foundation of making sure that they're covered. The next session is more money, more management. So a play on words. Making sure that their finances are in order, making sure they understand the compliances of making sure that you have proper financing, managing that as well. So we have financial institutions who will be present. We have CPAs who will be present doing this panel. The next one is recharge, making sure that you recharge. As an entrepreneur, there's a lot of moving pieces, and making sure that they understand the importance of having executive coaches, having, going to different conferences, making sure that they are even taking something as simple as a vacation so they can be able to recharge. Next session is marketing and networking, how to properly pitch your business or nonprofit organization. And also, we are making sure that businesses understand that you don't only have to have a meeting inside of the four walls. So we're having local eateries be on our menu items. So when you come in for registration, you'll have a taste of Daytona Beach. So we have the local eateries, they're donating their food to make sure that that's on the menu. So during the keynote address, the menu will be a taste of Daytona Beach. We'll be giving out prizes. Prizes consist of office spaces, office supplies, different services. So it's a day full of pouring into our citizens here in Daytona Beach. So that's a short snippet of what we have. Any questions?
This is what day again?
This is February 24th at the Yvonne Scarlett Golden Building.
From what time?
From 8 a.m. is check-in, and then it goes up into 3:30. It's free reservation, making sure we do encourage everyone to register. If you don't register prior to, you can register once you arrive.
Will the sessions be maybe recorded for those that will not be able to attend?
They won't be recorded
Okay.
to give out because we're just encouraging everyone to attend, but we will have a recap video of everything.
Okay.
Yes. Also, the people who are the speakers who will be doing the sessions, they will have appointment cards available. So during the breakouts, during the breaks, you'll be able to have one-on-ones with the speakers as well, including the keynote address.
Okay.
How can they register?
So they can register on our website. So if you go to our website and click on the highlights, thank you. Yeah. You can go on our website, the City of Daytona Beach, so codb.us, and then you would click on highlights, and then you will be able to click there and register. And I just encourage everybody to register because that's how you're able to win prizes.
Okay. Thank you.
Yes. And one more thing I wanted to mention, we have a book festival that's going on during that time. And so I know that we have that going on and we're pushing the summit, but we're also encouraging attendees to attend the book festival that the city sponsors every year. And one incentive is once you attend the book festival, you'll be able to win a prize, which is one of our rentals, a discount on our rentals, our city rentals here. So if you attend both, you'll put your name in the drawing for both. Any other questions?
I have a question. Is
Sure.
this advertised on Facebook or
It
was
is.
just on the city's website?
It's advertised on Facebook. It's in also the utility bills. Is our local partners are advertising, the chambers, the
Okay.
county, the university are advertising as well. We have a great registration turnout from Bethune-Cookman, Embry-Riddle, Daytona State, and Stetson.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
You're very welcome.
And then to finish my project list, all of you were given a copy of the Public Works project list. And I just wanted to highlight on page 2, the Daisy Stocking Park improvements. That was about $1.2 million worth of improvements that will be wrapping up at the end of February. And it should be open, not 100% operational, but close to it for the Bike Week events.
I noticed the fencing tonight when I passed by there, right on King Boulevard. Is that gonna be the main entrance off the boulevard? Is that
For
little
pedestrians.
park? Okay.
Pedestrians can walk off of MMB. You know, there's a walking path on the side of the old Singleton Cleaners building, and that'll be for pedestrians. But parking will be on the Walnut end as well as can't remember the name of the street on the other side. The entrances for parking will stay the same. But that is wrapping up in February for the Bike Week events for March. And I'm hoping one of my teammates will pull up the email from Susan Sorbonne telling us of the ribbon cutting date. I didn't get a chance to print that, but while they're doing that, I wanted to point out that the Public Works project list left off a street resurfacing project that starts soon. They sent it to us on Monday after I'd already hand-delivered the packets. The roads that they are starting on is listed on this sheet that I'm about to give you. are the streets where the surfacing projects will start.
Yeah.
And I just wanted you to have that because those are more enhancements and improvements. I know I'm supposed to be at Mike. Those are more enhancement and improvements to what's already happening in Midtown. But that's a list of resurfacing streets, and they don't have dates yet because when this was printed up, the company doing the contract had identified these streets, and they don't have a time frame yet, but wanted us to know that street resurfacing will happen soon.
It's already started.
It has?
Yes.
All right, well, soon
On
is...
Cedar, I saw it on Cedar.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's a good thing.
Yeah.
And the dates for, the Daytona Aquarium is having a ribbon cutting.
Okay.
And I was trying to get the flyer to pass out to you all, but I will. 29th at what time? 10. Thursday?
I thought they had the job fair or the hiring.
Yes, big turnout for that too. Thursday, the 29th of February at 10 a.m. I'm going to try to email a flyer out just as a reminder. If you're not able to make it, maybe someone in your family, friends, or work circle will want to go over and see the ribbon cutting. But it's 29th at 10 a.m.
So the 29th, the ribbon cutting is for the park?
For the Daytona Aquarium.
Okay, all right.
Yep. And those are all the announcements or projects I have for Midtown, unless Ken has anything to add. All right, thank you.
Oh, I have one question.
Yes, ma'am.
The ribbon cutting for the park, you'll get us that information?
The ribbon cutting for the park has not been set yet.
Okay.
And when I do get that, I will pass it on. What they're doing is wrapping up the final closeout
Okay.
for the construction.
Okay.
And it's February 13th, and they're shooting for the end of February, so it may spill over to March a little bit, even though March 1st starts Bike Week. That's why it's not going to be 100% operational, but it'll be open to the public for Bike Week.
Okay.
Will there be programming in there then?
I do not know the specifics other than we want to get more events, whether they're free or paid. We want to get more events in Daisy Stocking. And Keith and his group are working on that schedule now. Yep.
Okay. All right, and we are moving on to Midtown Spotlights. Mr. Pierre?
Pierre Lewis, 130 South Franklin Street. If I could get just a little bit of flexibility, Madam Chair, into the board. We've got two business owners, so I'd like to introduce both of them at the same time instead of come up and propose thing. By the way, it's great to see we've got Ms. Sharon Hawkins Holden, that's the owner of Bottles Up. She's been in business for a number of years. I'd be remiss if I said, I'd be missing if I said exactly how many, because I don't know. And I know this is not her first business. She's done a lot of business and commerce in the Midtown area, so we're glad to see she'll be here tonight. Also, we've got Ms. Cindy Perry. She's the owner of Surplus Unlimited Marine Liquidators, which is right across the street from, actually, Bethune-Cookman. And she's been in business since I was a paper boy, when her dad owned the business. Nobody needs to do the math on that. Don't worry about that. Either way, Madam Chair, and to the board, that's what we have tonight. So first, we'll have Ms. Hawkins. She's outside. In fact, could you read, please? Thank you. You're right behind me. Must have heard that. She's not out there? And what we'd like to do is, for that, we'll go ahead and bring up Ms. Cindy Perry, please. Of Surplus Unlimited. And what I'll have them do, Madam Chair, what I was saying is they'll just govern themselves.
Okay.
They'll come around after you finish. Thank you.
Evening.
How you doing?
I'm Cindy Perry. I'm actually a native Floridian, born at Halifax Hospital in 1963. My business is Surplus Unlimited Marine Liquidators at 613 West International Speedway, right across from Bethune-Cookman, in between Buck's Gun Rack, and I'm right there.
Okay.
We are a retail marine boating supply, like parts store. We don't actually sell boats or anything, just all kinds of parts. We sell closeouts. We get our stuff from boat manufacturers when they have closeouts. I buy merchandise from multiple distributors, and we strive to keep our prices lower to draw in more crowd. There's a few other places in town, which I won't name, that we compete with. But we sell anywhere from like trailer parts to rope and boat seats.
Want big fitness energy without a big investment?
Pumps and
Join
plumbing,
Planet Fitness.
you know.
Now through February
What all you
16th,
get with
save big during the Big Fitness Energy Sale. You win $1 down, $10 a month.
But I've brought in fishing
That's
tackle,
right. We
salt
brought
water,
enrollment fee.
freshwater, and for the women, I've brought in nautical decor and jewelry.
Okay.
So, and we have lots. So, I have a regular flow of customers. I have some that come in every day. I have some come in week to week, month to month. Then I have your snowbirds that come in. I get a lot of customers from NASCAR week, bike week, turkey rod run, and of course, every day I have somebody come in that's lived here their whole lives that didn't know we existed. So I just started a new website, so hopefully that'll help bring in more business. And I'm hoping 2024 is going to just be a better year for everyone, because I've talked to so many businesses around that's been down in sales, and I'm trying to be involved. Our business was founded by my daddy. Been over 35 years ago. He started out on Beach Street. He was there a couple of years, and then he moved to the building we're currently at. He just needed more space, and he first started leasing the building. I don't know if any of you might remember Royce Spielman. He was well known around for properties. We started leasing, and then my father purchased it and paid it off last year. I have 3 parcels. The one that faces 613 West International, I have 110 Martin Luther King, and then the other parcel is Jesse Street. So I'm on all corners. I'm right across from the field they just built for practice for Bethune-Cookman. Unfortunately, Friday the 16th will be 3 years that my daddy passed away at age 83, and he went home to be with the Lord. He was ready. He had a heart attack, but he was ready. So he left the business in a trust to my 2 sisters and I, and I'm the one that runs it because I've been there over 28 years. So I pretty much know the ins and outs. And right after all this happened, my bookkeeper retired. So now I do more bookkeeping than I want to do. But I wanted to just tell you a couple quotes that was my dad's favorites, because he was a character, if any of you knew him. I think you do, my daddy. He always says, we have what it takes to float your boat, and we cheat the other guy and pass the savings on to you. That was 2 of his favorite sayings. So he was a character. I mean, if you come in the store, we have pictures of him up. So other activities that we've been involved with in the area, and then some of the other South Daytona, Ponce Inlet, the whole area. I sponsor kids fishing tournaments.
Oh.
We try to get the kids away from computers, get them out fishing. And most of the kids fishing tournaments is put on through Southern States Fishing and Hunt magazine. Her magazines are in my store, and she actually works for me currently, the publisher of that. I've also sponsored the fishing tournaments for the Halifax Sport Fishing Club, the Mahi Championship, the Queen of the Inlet, and the Surf Fishing Challenge. And just last month I received 3 awards for top sponsorship, which is the first time I've been awarded that, so I was thrilled. Throughout the year, I try to have customer appreciation events. I do a toy drive at Christmas. I do a big raffle, trying to get people to come in to donate toys, and they can enter the raffle. I try to stay connected with things in the area. I've been a shadowing mentor for students at Bethune-Cookman. Cannot remember the professor's name. He's very well known for business. Okay, I just couldn't remember his name. But I've mentored several students. They come in and shadow. I've also met the new owners of the 112 Martin Luther King. That's where they're getting ready to build the luxury apartments behind my property.
Oh, okay.
We try to stay in touch because, it's right up against my property line. So, and then Buck's Gun Rack, my parents knew them from day one, and they sold recently. But I've become, friends and a good relationship with the new owners there. There's a few issues in the neighborhood, as most of you know. I was just going to address just a couple. I'm very pleased with where we're at, but as most of you know, across the street from me is a gas station on the corner. And of course, unfortunately, we see drug dealing going on quite often.
Okay.
They have approached me in my parking lot when I get there by myself in the mornings, to the point I've had to get my concealed permit. My best friend's a retired policeman, and he encouraged me to do that. And I have been approached, and we've had homeless sleeping on my front porch by the front door. I do call the police, but they're gone by the time the police can get there. I've had several incidents of that kind of thing. I have people coming in off the streets asking for money, to use our bathroom. They approach my customers in the parking lot. I just run them off. That's all you can do. My heart goes out to homeless because I actually have a personal friend that is, but I can't have them in the business bothering the customers. I've had a few break-ins in my backyard. It's just fenced. I actually had a new fence put in and got all the permits and all that, but they won't let me put barbed wire.
Okay.
I really need it because I've got people jumping the fence, and I have so much stuff I can't tell what they take. But they have actually cut through my fence. I came in one Sunday and was met with 3 pit bulls. Needless to say, that was the one day I didn't have my gun on me. I was terrified. But I just turned and walked real slow, and when I got to where they couldn't see me, I ran and got in the building. But and the police came, and he says, all I can do was a Sunday. He says, I don't have to shoot them, so we waited for animal control the next day. So I just, I stay concerned about some of that kind of stuff. We caught a guy just recently, midday, jumping my fence. And it's all locked up, so I don't know, But, regarding the property itself, the only thing I wanted to say, the only issues I have, when they did the redevelopment a few years back, I don't even remember how long it's been, when they put in the new street lights and redid the sidewalks and the brick at the intersections there by Bethune-Cookman, they didn't replace the water pipes. I've had to call the city out 4 or 5 times now due to water breaks in the front sidewalk of the business.
Okay.
I don't know why they didn't do it. I know it's costly, but I can imagine what it costs every time they have to bring heavy equipment every time, and it sprays up like a big fountain. All these water breaks that's been going on. I just wanted to just bring that up. One thing I'm thankful for, and I know that's part of what this meeting was about, I have no flooding issues. I feel for the neighborhood behind me because I've lived here my whole life, and I see how bad it floods out past Orange Avenue and all during our heavy rains or storms. But where I'm at, I sit up high and have good drainage. I have not had a flooding issue in my, area right there. But in closing, I just wanted to thank you for inviting me. I'd like you to come visit my store sometime. You can just ask for me, Cindy Perry. I'm usually in the back office now, unfortunately. But I just appreciate hearing my story, and come visit me. Okay?
Okay.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Madam Chair, and to the board. I'd like to say I know where other speaker is at, but she was here and but out of courtesy to the board, I wanted to mention that. Because Mr. White said that text a couple of times, so. I mean,
It's
so
okay.
let's go on.
All right.
Train's out of the station, must keep moving. Well, I would, but I don't want to steal anybody's thunder. It's
What?
wine and beers.
Oh.
That's the explanation right there. In a nutshell, it's, okay, I'll change it up to, it's beer and wine. You know, it's wine and beer, it's beer and wine. But either way, no, it's actually, I've been there. Not that I'm into wine and beer. Everybody knows how to drink. Let's get that on the record. I don't drink, but either way, I have no booze. I'm a knight. I keep myself pure. But either way, it's a great place to, not only just that, they've got karaoke. They have, they're gonna have open mic that's there pretty soon. They're open definitely for the residents that are there. They have food and obviously, like I said, drinks and stuff like that. But it's more of this, not thinking of this place as just even though it has bar in the name, it's mostly sort of a meeting place for people to go, just like we've had at some of the other places. They have different events that's there, more of a meeting center. That's the far-reaching plans. But I really hate to speak for other people in their business, because I might short-sight that. I don't want to say that. I can just only talk from my experience. I have been there, 3 times, 4 times, and what I've seen at the place that's there is that it's a very nice crowd that's there. And not only that, it's a crowd of people that I know that are from the area too. They are seeking to get members that are, not members, but patrons that are there to come to the business. Is that one? People that are just not just in the Midtown area, but all over. Because we all know that we need commerce, and commerce is a currency that flows all over. So we're looking to get currency from somebody that says that they're living on the beach side, and they say, you know what, I think I'm gonna go to the Bottle Ups Club tonight. Or somebody that lives in Deltona, they think to themselves, they wanna go there. And that's what we're striving to do anywhere for business altogether in Midtown. We don't want someone to say that, yeah, the business is in Midtown, but we want you to feel comfortable coming to a business in Midtown, just like you would go anywhere else. And it's not a matter of it has a line, it's business because the commerce is there, and it's quality business that's there. Same quality business that is in other places, I won't mention the names, we want that same quality instilled here. Quality is first, and that's what we're here, and I believe that's what the Bottle Ups clubs will do for Midtown, bring quality. And no, I don't drink, so that is the record. That's the record. That's fine. Thank you.
We're going to move forward with old business. There is no old business and new business. There is no new business. Public comments. We have Jenny Mazik.
Hi, everybody. Happy 2024. I'm Jenny Nazak at 501 Harvey Avenue. I wanted to mention, you all have probably heard about it, but I wanted to mention, just in case so the word gets out, Mr. Steve Miller at Midtown Neighborhood Watch last night. The guest speaker was Mr. Chuck Puckett from transform386.org, and he was really talking about how they wanted to see a lot more applications from residents of Daytona Beach whose houses had been damaged in Hurricane Ian, and they're really wanting to help people get their paperwork together. So just like, if you've heard that a million times, now you heard it 1,000,001 times, but I just want everyone to be safe back in their houses and all that. So, and Steve runs a really good meeting. Thank you, Steve. And I'm a beachside resident, but I'm a huge fan of Midtown, and I don't, as much as I love my home, I could never just be happy on the beach side if people in Midtown aren't doing well too. Over on the beach side, by the way, in the Beachside Neighborhood Watch, we have an initiative called, it's like, what is it called? The Beachside Beautification, about the wild plants and stuff? I think it's like the resolution on beautifying the beachside. And so we're promoting kind of a more naturalistic, gentle approach to landscaping over on the beach side, because we have a lot of distinctive kind of native dune vegetation over there. A lot of people don't know there used to be a lot more trees over there. So if we have a more naturalistic approach, we're hoping we're going to save, there could be savings of money and not as much need for irrigation, and more natural aesthetic that's in keeping with being over by the ocean side. And it also ties in with the concept of a stormwater sponge. Like the more that the barrier island has natural vegetation with good root systems, it'll be a better stormwater sponge for mitigating heat and absorbing stormwater. And so every little bit helps with that too. And we're also hoping that with some money and resource savings, those savings could be directed to urgent needs elsewhere in the city. So if anyone ever has any questions about any of that, you can always contact me. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Do we have any more public comments? Steve Miller.
Steve Miller, 383 Walnut Street, beautiful Daytona Beach, Florida. And also president of the Midtown Neighborhood Watching. We did have an awesome meeting last night, and I want to thank our staff for coming out and supporting us. And we got some commitments from the county that they're going to help train some of our folks so that we can take some applications and get a whole lot more folks from our neighborhood involved in that project. We need all the help we can get in Midtown. And I just wrote down, I was about to say, it's Martin Luther King Boulevard. And I'm serious, it looks so nice up in there, especially with that new club we got over there. The watering hole. It is, it is just beautiful what's going on. And I just want to thank our redevelopment for making our dream come true. We haven't gotten there completely, but we're getting closer and closer. We have some folks that are very excited about Midtown. Normally we have 3 commissioners that come to the meeting every month. We were short one, but they called and got an excuse, so it's okay with us. And we had the chairman of the county council there last night, and he was very instrumental in helping us to get those folks to come to the neighborhood that we really appreciate. And I'm looking forward, and a lot of other good things happening. And man, you know what? I know y'all working on that directory, and I would really love to see some group advertising for the businesses in the Midtown area. Ken, my suggestion to this particular board, and I think that we're on the right track, and we have the right people in place. And I just want to thank you guys for participating in it. Is there a vacancy here? Is it a vacancy?
Yes. The spot to the left of the chairperson is Davita Bonner, and she has a meeting tonight up at Bethune-Cookman. And we do have 2 vacancies, but one is going to be filled because we had an applicant turn in, I guess it was an application back in January. We do have 1 vacancy.
And that's in zone what?
That is any business, any resident who lives in Midtown. Any business owner, any business employee, and any resident who lives in Midtown qualifies to serve.
So,
as long as you don't have liens, because we did have one apply who could not qualify because they had liens.
Federal tax liens? What kind of liens?
City liens.
Oh, city liens. So if I have a business in Midtown that I can actually serve on this board?
Yeah, there's only one Midtown, and that's the CRA.
And I'm Midtown, no ands and
Midtown
buts
CRA?
about it. George Newcomb is Midtown. I just want you to know that. I have to get out of here right now, but I'm going to apply for that position, okay? Because Ann told me to do it. Oh, well, you can do that.
Mr. Pierre. They fighting to get on the floor now.
Pierre Lewis, 130 South Franklin Street. Did my time start yet? Okay. I just had a couple of comments. One report I saw recently, I was telling them about that, on the city's website, it's called CRA Annual Report. Now, I was going to mention the last one, but we didn't have the meeting, but that's this report right here. Another pretty informative. Have you ever seen this one on the city's website? And that report that talks about it, actually, what's highlighted as a CRA is the Brown and Brown building. And the 400 downtown CRA that's in that building like that. My thing is, the only reason I mention it, the only reason I bring that up is that also in there, there are luxury apartments that are in the downtown area, but then there's another place that's there on the back page where it mentions proposed Bethune Boulevard apartments. You know, there's a blank stare, right? I didn't know where that was, and kids, well, maybe that's something that's here, but that's what's in the CRA report. I was gonna mention last month because it's got old stuff, and I spilled my juice, so it kind of messed up, but I did make everybody's copies, because you know I like to make copies for people. But yeah, but that's what I would urge that we kind of look at that and see where that lays with that. That's the annual CRA report. And it talks about that, but it doesn't mention anything about, we haven't talked about it on this board, and I'll be quick because I know that. Then a couple of things I know the board is just starting up, is that we talked about signage. Have you seen that signage by the Toyota? There's a signage at the Toyota where it says Midtown. Have you seen this sign? I don't know, it's got the new motif, but what's interesting about it is the sign, the Tuscarora Park, it points left, well, south, and then it says the Art Museum points south. And for some reason, there's something that says Midtown Center. See it right there? And then it's pointing down the dirt road. I don't know, I have no idea why it's pointed backwards. See what I'm talking about?
You don't want them to go.
Well, I would say that, but all the other signs point there, but for some reason, this sign points down that dirt road, it's backwards. I don't know what happened there. I remember talking about how the signage was there, but that one right there is pointing there. So hopefully we can get some of that fixed. The other things I know that I'm hoping that now that we've got the new board formed up, things that I'll be quick about this is updates on the Truist loan that's out there. And I'll be quick because I know there's a couple of times running out. I did start that cleanup campaign, getting the road signs done, well, the yard signs so people can pick those up. It's my own initiative. I'm not looking for anything from the board on that. Just the fact that we are working towards getting sort of our own neighborhood cleanup campaign in the area, because I don't believe that the city or the board should tackle all the responsibility. We'll take the initiative on our own, in addition to, what do we call the new park? Still Daisy Stockings? What initiative we need to do as far as making sure we clean up in there. Safe neighborhoods, Midtown signage, I talked about that. The Army Corps of Engineers study, constant updates on that. Neighborhood watch, I put turnout versus the redevelopment board. I think we can flip that a little bit, because one of the things I noticed after being at that board, neighborhood watch, where it's here is, I send it on the Midtown Action Group on Facebook. I'll put information to say that the agenda that's there, if I may. The agenda that's there, however, one of the things that I noticed that in the meetings at Neighborhood Watch, they'll highlight the particular speaker that's there. And I think that's kind of a draw. That's kind of a draw. Somebody says the topic that's going to be there. So I think on my side, since I do the business spotlight, that I'll highlight more of the business leaders that's going to be speaking probably there, and maybe that'll be encourage people to draw there. Also, I do what's called a save the date card. And that save the date card has the old photos that I put out on Facebook. Now we have new chair and new members. Hopefully we can have some new pictures that's on the website. So when I send that save the date card about the meeting that's going to occur, we can have those new photos that's out there. And that would help, because I'm trying to get people so these can be not just this, but filled up more. I'll do my part. That's it. Thank you.
And moving forward to board comments, Ms. Hardy?
I have two questions, and my questions are directed to Mr. Ken and Ms. Tolliver. I know it's been a lot of severe weather throughout not just the country, especially the west end of the country. Luckily, this state has not been impacted so much this year with bad weather. So with that being said, I had a question about whether the county or the city has some form of siren system in place to alert the residents or of any type of severe weather that could potentially come into the area. Do we have a siren system?
Good question. I'm not familiar. But we can find out from our fire department.
Okay. And then my second one is, everybody watched the news, so we all know that the country has an influx right now of migrants. Is there a plan in place for the city should we start to see an influx with migrants coming into the area?
I don't know. Let the truth be told, we have a lack of housing with existing population, and if we added any more, folks to this population, we certainly would be, in drastic despair. But good point, good question, good observation. But at this point, I don't necessarily have an answer on how we're going to address additional people from immigrants. But it doesn't appear that they're coming to Daytona yet.
Okay. It's just, I know for mayor in New York, they've kind of just ran all over him. He has no power to do anything. They've taken all the city funding, and he's just at an odd as to what to do. So I was just wondering, should we start to see that happen here in our area? What is the plan?
If I may, Madam Chairman, actually we have a plan for addressing new housing, a new multifamily housing or rental housing. So we are well aware that we have a deficiency. Actually, if you want to know what the statistics are, we're over 200 plus liking of residential units, and that number goes up. Actually, it's more than that. It's actually over 1,200, according to Bieber. Bieber is a organization out of University of Florida who does housing statistical reporting throughout the state. And so over 1,200 units, we're deficient. We're probably more than that, but based on the household populations, that is what they're telling us right now. And so if we're 1,200 in deficit this year, or at least it was 2023, that number just continues to go up every year if we don't build new residential units.
Thank you.
Well, I have a question. So you mentioned that you guys are planning something or preparing something in order to be able to build new, or just be able to provide affordable housing. What's the time frame with that?
Good question. Mr. Pierre did, he touched on it just a tad bit, but just so that you know, as a board, I'm going to take something out of Pierre's page, and that he mentioned about the Truist loan. Mm-hmm. That's a loan that the city took out last year, $6.5 million. I forget because I don't try to keep up the numbers, but $6.5 million. It was like an advance to the Midtown CRA. So, just for layman's term, the $6.5 million is basically used to do what we normally would do.
Okay.
Only thing that happened was that we now have more money to work with this year, next year, until we spend all of the money.
Okay.
But everything that our redevelopment plan says, 5 years ago, 10 years ago, 15 years ago, that is exactly what we're doing with this $6.5 million. It's just that each year you get an assessment of money from property taxpayers. But that's not enough money to do everything that your redevelopment plan says. So we went out and got some money to, advance our efforts. Now, on the housing side, I don't want to give away our game plan publicly because it deals with us spending money. And oftentimes when we spend money, the prices go up.
Okay.
But the plan is to identify a particular area in the redevelopment, in the Midtown redevelopment, and for us to make acquisitions so that we can have properties available so that when we get ready to do multifamilies, if it's a triplex, quadruplex, or a 12plex, we're in control of having available properties to do exactly what everybody says we need to do, and that is provide affordable housing. But we can talk about affordable housing all day long, but if you don't have assets, then you're sort of in the back seat.
Yeah.
You're just part of the crowd talking. So we believe that in order for us to advance affordable housing, we got to be in the ball game, and then being in the ball game, you have to acquire assets to do that.
Okay. Mr. Thompson? Okay, all right. So, let's see. Everybody's already heard everything, so we don't have to recap everything. I would like to definitely say I am happy to be here tonight. I'm happy with staff. I'm happy that we are moving forward with the 386 Transform. The meeting with Mr. Miller yesterday was amazing. The county came out. They provided the information that we needed, and we need to get the ball rolling. Don't let them slide on it. Don't let them go. Hang on to them, and let's set up some things so the residents will be able to access that, because only having 200 and something applications was it's too low. We need a lot more housing and a lot more people to know that that information is out there so that we can access it. Thank you for pushing. Thank you, Mr. Miller, for having that available for us. And thank you to everybody for just, sticking it out and moving forward. I'm excited about whatever you have going on for the housing. Let's get it together. So thank you. Ms. Hardy?
Great meeting. I do have one more question, I'm sorry. I know we addressed a few months back, it's been a couple months, I know we was off last month, about our needs plan. Where are we in addressing the major topics that we all discussed and decided on as far as our needs plan?
It's an item that I need to bring back, because the last action that I have is to consolidate all of the needs onto a document so you all can prioritize what is next, and that hasn't happened yet. You need to see all of the plan as one document. What I have now is all of the plans separately. So I'll bring that back hopefully March. It may not be until April. March is going to be, the item that we needed to vote on tonight for the U-Haul. But I started on it and it has not been finished. Hopefully March, maybe April. I'll shoot for April.
Okay.
And let me add to that. Actually, all of the things that you all brought up in that needs assessment, it is part of what we're doing every day. Board member Thompson, he talked about, having communication. And so we are now, and part of communication is that, you want to get out, and I think someone said it earlier about, being able to talk, have communication with the business owners. Well, what we're doing is we're identifying all our business owners, because we don't have that. So part of getting to where Mr. Thompson was saying we need to have some talking points, or at least some communication. We need to know who we're communicating with. And so that's already in the works. We've already paid for that. It is just really done. We just need to figure out how we're going to roll it out. And then on the other side, infrastructure, there was something about paving of the streets, and that's underway right now. So a lot of these things that are in that plan, which you all addressed, that says this is a priority, we're actually doing it.
Okay.
Thank you, Mr. Thompson and Ms. Sullivan.
I want to echo that, because some of the stuff, even accelerate, not only for Midtown, but the stuff that's coming out of your offices. Everybody's talking about flow of information. So you're right, it's happening.
Okay. If nobody asks anything else, we are adjourned. Let's go.